What you're about to see is not the Canada that I have come for. Stick with me as you're going to see some of the shocking events that have happened in this week.
Fanning the flames. Politicians across the country accusing speakers at a downtown pro-Palestinian rally of crossing the line.
I find this sort of violence completely unacceptable. This sort of hate should have no place in British Columbia.
David Eby also condemning the actions, in a statement saying this kind of rhetoric is wrong and has no place in our province. The rally was organized in part by a group known as Samadoun, which claims to be a grassroots movement advocating for Palestinian freedom.
Death to Canada! Death to the United States! And death to Israel!
Critics, including the federal Conservatives, saying the Liberal government must take action.
Samadoun has been fomenting these violent and horrific protests and mob.
You know, I never thought I would see something like this here in Canada, a place known for its peace, its diversity, its inclusivity. But when I saw hundreds and thousands of people gathering in Vancouver to protest not just for a cause they believe in, but for a completely different nation while living in this land, it really shook me. I mean, isn't this Canada a country that offers safety, opportunity and freedom to so many? So how did we end up with chants that go as far as to call for violence against Canada? This rally at the Vancouver Art Gallery, it was meant to show solidarity with Palestine, which, okay, peaceful protests happen all the time. But what really left me speechless was this shift in tone. It wasn't just about voicing support for Palestine anymore. When the chants turned into death to Canada, I felt disheartened. I mean, how do we even process that? People protesting in the streets of Canada, calling for violence against the very country that has welcomed them. And as someone who's lived here for a while now, I didn't expect to see something like this, especially here. Canada, of all places, has been a refugee, a fresh start for so many people. I'm sure many of us didn't come here thinking we would see protests that tear down the values this country is built on. So what does this really say? This incident happened close to the anniversary of the Hamas-Israel conflict and tensions were high. We get that. But for these tensions to boil over in a way that threatens the unity of this country, it's really troubling. It wasn't just politicians who were quick to condemn the chants. People, everyday Canadians like you and me, were just as alarmed. And it makes you think, what's happening here? Are we losing sight of the freedom we are so lucky to have? Protests are part of democracy, yes, but where do we draw the line? How do we stop something so peaceful from spiraling into something so toxic, so damaging? Imagine being there. Maybe you're a newcomer to Canada, maybe an international student, or just someone walking by. You hear these chants and can't help but feel confused, maybe even afraid. Is this a country you thought you were moving to? That feeling of safety, of belonging, starts to feel a little less secure. But this isn't just about the rally, it's about how these moments impact everyone. The communities here, Palestinian, Israeli, and others, they're all impacted. These rallies are supposed to represent peace, but they end up deepening the divide. Social media blows things up. Clips get shared, debates flare up, and suddenly that small event is echoing across the country, sowing fear and anger in its wake. I think what hurts most is the disconnect. When you come to a country like Canada, you're supposed to leave behind the anger and violence from wherever you came from, right? We are here to build something better together. But when events like this happen, it feels like we are taking steps backward. And the people chanting, do they realize what they say? Are they thinking about how those words affect the very community they are a part of now? Canada's strength is in its diversity, but we can't let the diversity divide us. Not like this. We have to find a way to have these difficult conversations without letting them destroy the very fabric of what makes this country so special. We need to take a hard look at where this is all heading. Is this really the kind of division we want to see in Canada? Because I know I don't. I moved here for the promise of peace, for the chance to be part of something bigger, something hopeful. And I'm sure many of you did too. Let's take a step back. How can we engage in these important conversations while still respecting each other, still valuing the country we're all lucky to call home? Isn't a question we all need to ask ourselves before it's too late.